morning, guys. My name is Uluwatayo Joseph, and I'll be here for your instructor for today with for learning with Pro. This is week 2, and if you guys have not checked my first video, I would advise you to check the first video because more of the things that I'll be covering this week 2 is more of that we have done in the first video. Okay, so this week 2 we'll be looking at currency pairs. Under currency pairs, we'll be looking at definition of currency, the difference between currency and money, what are currency pair, base and quotes, major and minor currency pair, why trader trade the major pairs, bid and ask price. We're looking at forex trader, who is a forex trader, how do forex brokers, who is a forex broker, sorry, how do forex brokers make money. We're looking at spread, we'll be looking at leverage. We're looking at leverage ratio, we're looking at margin, we're looking at what is margin, we're looking at margin requirement, we're looking at loss size, we're looking at pips, we're looking at how to calculate pips, we're looking at market order, we're looking at sell stop, buy limit, sell limit, buy stop limit, and sell stop limit. Okay, currency. What is a currency? Currency is a medium of exchange for goods and services. In short, it is money in the form of paper and coins, usually issued by a government and generally accepted as at its face value as a method of payment. There are two things to note in this definition. One, it is issued by a government, and two, generally accepted. That means for it to be a currency, there should be two. There are two requirements for it. That is, one, to be issued by a government, and two, generally accepted. That is the definition of a currency. It must be issued by a government and generally accepted as a method of payment. That is what currency is all about. Now, the difference between currency and money. Money is a broader term that refers to an intangible system of value that makes the exchange of goods and services possible now and in the future. Currency is simply one tangible form of money. Now, what this means is that for money to be tangible, it must have a currency. Money is an intangible system. That means you cannot see it. Money is not something that can be seen or touched without it being a currency. I want you to get that right. Without it being a currency, you can't touch money. There's nothing like money. For it to be tangible, like for you to be able to see it and touch it, must be backed up with a currency. Maybe the dollar note, or the naira note, or the pound note, or the euros note. Those are money backed up with currency. Do you understand? That is the difference between currency and money. Now, moving on, what are currency pair? Now, currency pair are national currency from two countries coupled for trading on the foreign exchange (FX) market. A currency pair is a price quote of the exchange rate for two different countries traded in the forex market. When an order is placed for a currency pair, the first listed currency or the base currency is bought, while the second listed currency in a currency pair or quote currency is sold. Now, currency pair. Definition of currency pair. I want you to know two things also in this. For it to be a currency pair, normally what currency pair means two different currency. It must be two different currencies. That means from two different countries. It must be two different currencies and from two different countries. And currency pair are traded in the forex market only. That's why you can see currency pair. That's why currency pair exists. It's for it to be traded in the forex market. That means for there to be transaction between two countries. That's what currency pairs is all about. It's just the currency from two different countries coming together to be traded on the forex exchange, maybe for goods and services. Now, in this second definition, there's two things you must note: the base currency and the quote currency. The base currency and the quote currency. You must note it down. So, moving on, base and quote. Firstly, what is a quote currency? In forex, the quote currency, commonly known as counter currency, is the second currency in a both direct and indirect currency pair, and is used to determine the value of the base currency. So that means the value of the quote currency is used to determine the value of the base currency. Let's continue. The base currency represents how much of the quote currency is needed for you to get 1 unit of the base currency. For example, if you are looking at CAD/USD, the currency pair, the Canadian dollar will be the base currency and the US dollar will be the quote currency. Now, this CAD/USD, the full form of it is Canadian dollar slash US dollar. Now, in this Canadian dollar slash US dollar, the quote currency is always the one on the right hand side, which is the US dollar. Right, the base currency is always the one at the left hand side. In any currency pair, the base currencies are the left hand side and the quote currencies are the right hand side. I want you to get that right. The base currencies are the left hand side and the quote currencies are the right hand side. So when you see a currency pair, if you want to identify the base currency is always at the left and the quote currency is always at the right. You understand? Moving on, I will show you understand. You can see it. For example, USD. The base is always at the left and the quote is always at the right. So the value of the base is being determined by the quote. Let me get that. The value of the base is being determined by the quote. That means how much of USD dollars is able to get 1 euros. That's the value of the currency pair. How much of the quote currency is able to get one of the base currency. That's why I say that the quote is always being determined. The base, is always being determined by the quote. So moving on, major and minor currency pair. What are the major currency pair? Major currency are currency that trade the most volume against the US dollar. Examples are Euros USD, USD JPY, GBP USD, USD CHF, AUD USD, and USD CAD. Now, what this means is that every currency you see, every currency pair you see that are being traded most, that means that people trade most. This volume there means the amount of money entering into the currency pair. That means the amount of people buying the currency pair or selling the currency pair is high. That's why I say the most volume. So every currency pair that I see that there is a large amount of people doing transaction with the currency pair is being considered as a major currency pair, and the currency pair must at least be associated with US dollar. You can see that everything that is being listed above has US dollar in it, maybe as the base or as the quote. It must have US dollar in it for it to be a major currency pair. It must have US dollar for it to be a major currency pair. And this thing, if you want to look at it more, it will bring us back to the history of forex. When I told you about that US dollar as like everybody, every good and service was being attached to US dollar. When we were talking about the history of forex, I advise you to go back to the previous video to understand the history of forex very well. Now moving on to the minor currency pair. Minor currency pair are currency pair that are not associated with the US dollar in the forex market. They are not as liquid as the major currency pair and have large spread. Example are Euros GBP, JPY, Euros CHF, AUD JPY, and so on. So minor currency are currency that are not associated with USD dollar and they do not have a large volume. So that make it very they have a very large spread. They have very large spread and are very volatile in nature. They have a very large spread. So you have to be careful. But under some brokers, you may see that they list some currency under minor currency pairs that are being associated with US dollar. But if you notice those currency pairs that they list are currency pairs that people don't really know about it, that they don't really trade it. The volume of being trading it is very low. Why should I trade it major forex? I've talked about it. The spread is because of the spread. It has a very smaller spread, so making it easy and high volume. Okay? Bid and ask price. So the bid price is the price you receive for selling a currency, while the ask price is the price you have to pay for buying a currency. The difference between the bid and ask price is called a spread. So we want you to understand that when you want to sell like a good, maybe okay, maybe you bought a TV for $1,000. The same TV, you want to sell it, you may not sell it at that rate of $1,000, you may sell it like $950, because of the person that want to buy it. That's the price the person is willing to offer. That is what is called the bid price. While the ask price is the price which you paid for getting the TV. For getting the TV, you want to get the TV. There will be a price that is being given to you by the person that wants to sell it to you. That is the buyer. That is being given to you by the seller. Do you understand? That's what they call the bid price and the ask price. The bid price is the price that is being given to you by the seller, and the ask price is the price. No, sorry, the bid price is the price that is being given by the buyer, while the ask price is the price that is being given by the seller. So the difference between the bid and ask price is called what is called the spread. Okay, so this is for the next video.